I'm AJ Ross, joined by former Steelers O-lineman Raone Foster. You double-dipped tonight. You were on the sidelines for the radio broadcast. How long did it take you to sprint up here?
You know what? Miscommunication happened a little bit, and I had to sprint a little bit. But we're here. The job is done, and we got a final, along with a loss by the Steelers tonight. And just looking at the way the flow of the game was, too. A lot of back and forth. Some guys had to step up. Logan Lee, I know his name is not going to pop to a lot of people, but looking at the double duty that he did tonight while playing defensive tackle and also having to be the emergency long snapper, that is a tough task right there, AJ. So I'm really excited about what some of the young guys did too. Watching some of Roman Wilson step up on a night like tonight, and also Caleb Johnson seemed to have found his method as far as his ability to run the football in the NFL. That's a field type of position right there, and sometimes you need a lot more reps, and I feel like Caleb Johnson got that.
Well, let's take a further look at the game summary and the numbers supporting some of the key points that you just brought up there with, big plays, and especially on defense and special teams tonight. There were some stats supporting just what you were talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Mason Rudolph started off pretty good tonight, too. But again, seeing Caleb Johnson, 11 rushes, 50 yards, was awesome because he was downhill like heck. And again, I don't know what to call him right now, but Skylar Thompson is just dealing as much as you need a guy like him to do in these moments. But what I love about this graphic more than anything is second year, 2 receptions, 72 yards, and I think he had a whole lot more underneath him if Caleb Johnson had led him a little bit more with Roman Wilson. That's the type of stuff you want to see from him. Again, this team is searching for a valid number 2. Again, Calvin Austin is good, but Roman Wilson is a high draft pick that you want to see the return on your investment with him, and I love seeing that tonight.
Well, speaking of Roman Wilson, our Missy Matthews actually caught up with him just moments ago.
Roman, 2 catches for 72 yards. What do you make of your performance tonight?
Just give all the glory to God and, keep working, till next time.
What was it like getting back into this game, especially as an offensive unit?
It feels good. It's always good to come out here, especially at a home stadium with the fans. Like I said, it's just a real blessing.
In terms of Logan Lee, one of your draft classmates, we saw him do a little bit of everything tonight. I'm sure you're not surprised, but what did it look like to you in terms of the emergency long snapper and playing defense?
I mean, he's a dog. He does it all. I spent a lot of time with him last year. Great dude. I love him. He's a dog. He does it all.
We talked to DK Metcalf during the game, and he was singing your praises and saying to watch out for big things. What does it mean to have somebody like that in your wide receiver room to teach you, to learn from, and to be a voice of reason sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a real honor. DK is he's definitely one of those guys, one of one, and for him to be praising me like that, it's a real blessing. But, this team is just different, and, I'm really expecting a lot of big things from this team.
All right, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Missy. That interview was presented by Ticketmaster, the official marketplace of the NFL. Visit ticketmaster.com/Steelers. Ramon, what do you think about a young guy like that, Roman Wilson, and the big bright lights not being too big for him in moments like that tonight?
He played at a big-time university, number one. Having him answer the call right now after the year that he had last year, the setbacks that he had, and finally be able to prove yourself. I feel like when you're a young guy in the NFL, you got about 1, maybe 2 years to show your worth, and he's steadily doing it right now. So I'm proud of him, even in the preseason, AJ, having a guy like him just step up and match his competition, and I think he should be able to help this team in a lot of ways this upcoming 2025 season.
And showing out against a formidable defense in Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Steelers fans, we want to hear from you. Who was your player of the game? Post your comments on social media using the hashtag SteelersNation, and we may feature it on our broadcast tonight. These our social media posts are presented by South College, proud partner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're headed to break here on the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point. But when we come back, we're going to chat it up with the guys who called the game, Bob and Charlie, right after this. The Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point is brought to you in part by RE/MAX Select Realty. RE/MAX, voted the most trusted real estate agents. And now it's time to bring back the guys who called tonight's game, Bob Pompiani and Charlie Batch. Guys, I want to get your takeaways from tonight.
Well, there are a lot of them, AJ. A lot of interesting things happening. You guys mentioned Logan Lee. To me, that's a starting point because that's a tough situation for anyone to come in. But first, let's take a look at the stats of the game, the final stats, which are brought to you by NSS Life. NSS Life featuring low-cost life insurance and high-yielding annuities. And, Charlie, when you look at this, 2 for 12 on third down. That's something the Steelers got to change, but they put themselves back a lot. With some pre-snap penalties, they had third and long quite a bit.
Yeah, and when you have 3 turnovers, it starts there. You can't turn the football over. But the alarming stat right there is 2 for 12 on third downs. They had great success last week. That was a key for me coming into this game, and unfortunately they fell short in that department.
Each of the three quarterbacks had an interception tonight, so we're going to take a look at Charlie's breakdown. Quarterback analysis brought to you by Cleveland Brothers. Charlie, let's start with Mason Rudolph. He had a turnover right off the bat, underthrowing Roman Wilson, but then he came back with a nice drive and a big long connection to Roman over the middle.
Yeah, as a quarterback, you have to be short-minded. You turn over the football early, now you want to respond. Mason was able to do that. Big play to Roman Wilson down the field, then was able to throw that touchdown pass to Johnson as he was giving way to Skylar Thompson. And we'll take a look at the stats here. You can see Mason as he's sitting back, creating with his feet as he's trying to pick up a first down right there. Here's the play that I was talking about, the Roman Wilson. Big play down the field, high pointing the football. Mason, nothing to the right, sliding to the left right there, keeping his eyes downfield. Johnson finding him in the end zone for a touchdown. So it was good to see him. I know he's frustrated because he turned the football over, but either way, I thought he responded in a big way.
But it's certainly how he responded to it. And he did. He came right back after that and made atone for it. Now let's talk about Skylar Thompson, his second game. And again, 10 of 15, 113 yards. He did have an interception. However, overall, he moved the ball when he had to do it, and I think he did a pretty good job.
Yes, he did, and that's the one, turning around, eyes down the field. He's able to deliver a lot of accurate balls here today. You can see him on the move right there, just finding Johnson to pick up a big first down there, keep a drive moving, and nice ball here to Scotty Miller on a crossing route. And those are things that happens, and anytime that you get to that point, I know he's going to be frustrated because he threw the ball in the coverage. Even though that ball was turned over, it was one of those ones that could have been a questionable defensive pass interference.
Steelers lose 17-14, a lot of good, some things to work on. AJ and Ramon, let's go back to you.
Thanks, guys. Definitely some things to clean up. And Ramon, I'd asked you coming into this game, your thoughts on the O-line and the depth there and what you needed to see tonight. What were your takeaways with that position group?
I thought the first group did exactly what you needed them to do. They sustained, they moved the ball up and down the field. When you speak about the second and third unit, those are one of those guys that they got to know their processes.
Well, we have Coach Mike T at the podium right now.
Possession downs, I think we were 0 for 5, say at the half as an example of that. We got a penalty roughing the kicker where they were settling for 3, and we put them back on the field, and they eventually got a touchdown. And you lose games when things like that happen. We lost leverage in the red zone, and some passes there early on allowed them to score 7, and we got to make people settle for 3 on the short field. We spend too much time working in the short field. We understand how important leverage is in that space, but we didn't execute it. And so there'll be a lot to learn, obviously, from this game because of that. There certainly were some positive things. I thought several players took a step forward, two young guys in particular. I thought Harmon and Caleb Johnson really took a step forward off of their first performance. But again, that's a reasonable thing to expect. Second time stepping into a stadium, you see more of their talents. I think we talked about that a couple of days ago in anticipation of the game. From a health standpoint, Christian Kuntz had a chest injury that's being evaluated. Gareth Warren is being evaluated for concussion. And then we got some other bumps and bruises associated with play, many of which worked their way back into the game. And so we're working on a short week. We'll get ready to carry it to Carolina to finish off our in-stadium preseason work. And so we'll work with extreme urgency. But for us, a major component of that is analyzing the self-inflicted wounds that were really kind of characteristic tonight and hadn't been us throughout this process, but it definitively was us tonight. Pause and open it up for questions.
What you saw from Roman Wilson, and can he become, or is he becoming, a viable threat in your pass game?
He's had a good camp, and he's backed that up with some quality in-stadium play, and so feel good about the overall trajectory of him. But we got another game in a couple more weeks, and that time is critical for a young guy, and so he's got to keep his foot on the gas and keep working.
Mike, with Caleb, anything specific that you really liked about his game, especially in that third quarter?
I just thought we saw more of his talents this time around, and that's a reasonable expectation. He's been in the stadium, the mystique of it is over, and so as people get settled in and more comfortable with their roles in this NFL environment, I think you're just going to see more of their talents, and it just felt like we saw more of his talent tonight.
Did you see a little bit of what you wanted to see from Caleb Johnson?
Yes.
What do you think about the progress so far of the offensive line?
I like the overall trajectory of it. But again, as I mentioned, the same discussion with Roman, that's a young collective. a bunch of second-year, third-year types, and so like each and every day from a developmental standpoint is critical. And so we got another in-stadium opportunity. We've got several more weeks of work, and I expect them to continue to utilize it and continue to evolve individually and collectively.
Is Logan Lee just the guy to get you out of the stadium as a long snapper? And would you have to sign somebody if Christian can't come back?
I'm not ready to talk hypotheticals regarding Christian. I think we got some good news there, but I certainly was pleased with the work that Logan gave us tonight. He's worked at since he's been here. Versatility helps him and helps us.
Mike Herbig was okay?
Yes.
Mike Schuyler didn't get a lot of reps early in camp. Has anything he's done surprised you? What has impressed you about him?
It really has not. This guy's played some NFL football, man. He's had some starts and so forth in Miami, and so I'm not surprised that it's not too big for him. I'm not surprised that his talent is showing. He's a diligent worker. One man's misfortune is oftentimes another man's opportunity. We live by that, and certainly Will's misfortune is his opportunity, and he's taking a nice advantage of it.
What did you think about Cole Holcomb's play?
I thought on the surface it was solid, but I don't have anything other than that. From a reactionary standpoint, I certainly will next time we come together.
Coach, one more. Mike, you got the first team offensive line out of there, I think, after the first quarter. Would you expect them in the last game maybe to go a little longer than that?
We'll see. I'll talk to you guys before we play, usually 48 hours before we play. I'll give you some indication of what our plans are, and we'll kind of go.
Steelers Nation, buckle in, because this quarterback carousel just got turbocharged. What started as a quiet preseason battle has suddenly turned into one of the most intriguing storylines of the summer. Skylar Thompson is making waves, challenging for the QB depth chart, and turning heads with everything from his composure to his accuracy under pressure. Let's unpack this. Thompson wasn't expected to disrupt the order. He came in as an under-the-radar piece, sandwiched behind Mason Rudolph and the veteran yet inconsistent Logan Woodside, with rookie Will Howard sidelined by injury. But football doesn't care about expectations. It responds to performance. And man, Thompson has been stacking reps, pocket poise, and smart decisions like he's got something to prove. In recent practice sessions, Thompson has shown that he's much more than a clipboard holder. His mechanics have looked secure, his reads are getting sharper, and he's starting to look like someone who could, if absolutely needed, take the field and move the offense. Coaches aren't blind to this. Quiet praise is making its way into the building about his football IQ and mental toughness under pressure. Now let's add the context. The Steelers' QB room is anything but settled. Even though Aaron Rodgers is the headline voice, his preseason participation remains up in the air. Tomlin has made it clear he might sit Rodgers entirely in exhibition games. Meanwhile, Rudolph and Woodside have flashed, but neither has convincingly separated themselves. That space in between, is Thompson looking to fill it? Every well-placed pass, every sharp decision in the pocket, every confident step under duress adds fuel to the fire. And in a league where backup quarterbacks win seasons, adding someone who makes intelligent plays under pressure isn't just nice, it's essential. What's more, the athleticism there. Thompson moves with enough agility to buy time or extend plays. He's not raw arm talent, but he's steady, he's trustworthy, he looks like a quarterback who gets better every rep, and battle-tested in a way that surprises many given his previous obscurity in the Steelers' pre-order lists. So here's where we're at. Skylar Thompson, under the radar, is now one of the guys. He's not just filling a roster spot. He's making the coaches question matchups, rotations, even game plan structures. Is this the beginning of a legitimate 3 QB race? Is Thompson alone back there a legitimate threat to start in an emergency or to factor into regular rotations? Steelers Nation, I want your take. Is Thompson your pick for backup to Rodgers? Should Rudolph hold it down, or are you team rookie Howard, when healthy, has upside? Who's locking up that crucial QB2 role behind the legend? Smash that like button if you're excited by this quarterback intrigue. Hit subscribe to follow every rep, every throw, and every ripple in this preseason QB derby. This isn't just training camp noise, it's a real storyline with real stakes. And as we near the end of the preseason, every throw, every move, and every decision matters. Let me hear your voice. Who's your guy in the QB battle? Because Steelers Nation, this season starts now.